Shan and Tam fam, welcome to the Real Talk podcast. On this podcast, we talk about real issues. We talk about parenting, love, family, friendships, and everything in between.
It is our hope that you will journey with us through some critical conversations. We would like for you to drop us a comment, to share the conversation, and to let us know what you would like to see us talk about on Real Talk. Greetings, Shan and Tam fam. Welcome. Hope everyone is having a great year so far. We're almost at the end of January, coming to February, Black History Month. Excited for that. Tam and I are here this evening or this morning, whenever you're listening to this episode, because we want to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome and what that means for us as Black women or anyone. But I know for Tam and I, we are going to talk specifically about our experiences as Black women in the field about imposter syndrome. So, Tam, what are your thoughts on this? I know that we've spoke a little bit about it, and it came up in a book that we're reading by Trey Anthony when she herself spoke about imposter syndrome. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I guess it might be pertinent for us to define what that means for those who might not know, right? So the imposter syndrome actually describes the feeling of having trouble recognizing one's own skills, knowledge, expertise, and or achievements, and it may result in an individual doubting themselves and their abilities and engaging in negative self-talk, right? And typically you find this in the workspace, right? Maybe being related to one's career and work. And so the imposter syndrome can apply to virtually anything, though, typically in the workspace, but also, there are instances where this might happen in just or be applied to your everyday life. Like we always talk about parenting.
Oh, Lord, don't even talk about it.
Don't get us started.
Don't get us started on that topic.
And it can apply even in that respect. Think about your relationships, your marriage and stuff like that. So, it can occur in very many facets of your life, but I think often we find that in the workspace, in the professional space, is where we tend to experience this. And I know that over the course of my career, I can remember the very first job I had out of coming out of university, and this was back home in Jamaica. And think about this. I don't even remember how old I was then, but me did young. Okay.
Yeah. Fresh out of university.
Fresh out of university. So I probably was about, I don't know, maybe 21, 22.
Probably early 20s, yeah.
Yeah, I was in my early 20s.
20s, yeah.
And I got a managerial position working with the government in Jamaica.
Oh, that's awesome. But the people that must say, what a young girl,
but
just left school,
but
where she can't tell we. And that is the thing. That is a discrimination that comes with that. And then you probably second guess yourself to say, am I really qualified to be in this position?
Exactly. I was thinking, I know I got the job. I know I did a good interview. And coming fresh out of school, the principles of business, of management, because I studied management as for my first degree. So, the principles, but then it comes to the real world. And I'm thinking,
the theory. Well, how to put it in the practical.
Exactly. I'm thinking, can I actually do this? Am I really qualified for this? What were they thinking when they hired me?
Yeah.
And I got into that job and I excelled. I think I did really well at it, and I was there for a number of years. Now, fast forward, of course, I come here, and then you're essentially starting from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So land my working for my current employer, who I've been working for umpteen years now. Um, so I land my first job with them, and then over the course of the time that I've been with them, I've slowly now begin to move up in positions. And with each incremental move, I'm thinking, should I be here? Like, I don't know if
Mm,
me really can do this,
yeah.
or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but what I've come to realize though, and this is only in the most recent of my years, is that, and I told somebody this the other day, and I said to them, I hope you don't take it to think that I am like, what's the term? I used that term. I can't remember now. I said, um, arrogant. I said, I hope you don't take it to think that I'm arrogant, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel now that
Mm-hmm.
I can do any job. Okay?
As long as you put your mind to it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I can do any job. All I need to do is learn.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just have to learn your role,
Yes.
learn what the job entails, right? And as long as you have the motivation, the skill, and the willingness, as you say, I think you can do anything, right? But I don't know, Tam, and I don't know if us Black women struggle with this more, but I wonder if our white counterparts feel this way when they're at the top. And when you're the higher you go, is the less you see people that looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going to different managerial positions and when you're going to different areas, you don't see a lot of Black, you don't see a lot of racialized workers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if our white counterparts think this way, or if this is something that we carry in ourselves, that inferiority complex as Black people, to feel like we shouldn't be there. Why shouldn't we be there?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, our years of experience, our years of schooling,
Mm-hmm.
our own lived experience, why shouldn't we not be there? So I'm wondering if that's something ingrained in us as Black people that we carry with us, because I'm wondering, does our white counterparts feel this way? Because when them in a meeting, them show up and out and proud. Even when them not have qualifications like you. Real talk.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I remember even Patrick telling me, in a couple of instances where people that he has come across, can't remember now in terms of race or whatever, but like he's like, this person can talk the talk. They know every right word to say. They know
Absolutely.
every bit of the
Mm-hmm.
jargon in their profession.
Mm-hmm.
And but when it comes to actually seeing them perform in action,
They
then
can't do it.
no, there's a problem. Or they lack certain other skills that would otherwise make them successful, right? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've personally seen that too, um, where you're thinking you go into a room and you're in a meeting, and somebody that reel off of their tongue all of the right words in terms of what the strategies are that your
Yeah, yeah,
company is
yeah. Mm-hmm.
pursuing, and
Mm-hmm.
then know every little bit of background. And then when it comes to you actually seeing them in action, like,
Or see them in the field,
yeah, seeing them
them
in the
can't
field or
produce,
having, yeah, you're like,
them
really?
can't write a sentence.
I know.
Real talk,
Yeah.
right? But and that's the thing. And something too, that when you said that, you said to someone that you can do any job at this point. I think it's important for
Mhm.
us to have workplace mentors,
Yeah,
people that can actually speak life into us and push us and support us, because sometimes you feel like you're not qualified, you feel like you can't do it, but you don't see what other people see in you sometimes. And that
absolutely.
is the sad thing. Like sometimes people from the outside see and say, no man, Tam can't do this and Tam qualified. But you might doubt yourself, because I have a workplace mentor, and She has pushed me from I started my current job as a student, right? And
Mm-hmm.
pushed me and encouraged me. Shan, you need to go do your master's. Shan, you need to take on this position to lead this committee so you can set yourself up for when this job comes up, you can apply. Shan, you need to do this. And encourage me to do the things. And I say, Shan, do the work for me. I'm doing the
Yeah.
work. But she's encouraging me and leading me in the right path to do the work and say, I know you can do this, so take it on. Because a new committee that came about, and I didn't think I could lead it. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, pretty much I run with it and I do it right now. And
Right.
she supported me to say, no, Shan, do this and do that. And stepping out on feet, even in my current role, it was because of her that has supported me and encouraged me. So I think it's important sometimes too for us to have people that sees the best in us and can push us, because sometimes
Yeah.
we just need a little push. We just need
Yeah.
a little,
Yes.
nudge. No man, you
Yeah.
can't do it, because if that's the case, you just be comfortable
Yeah.
and be safe and stay in the position that you're at.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Real talk.
And I haven't been shy about saying this to you, and I've said it to many other people, that you were sort of that person for me, just in like doing the things that we do now. Like you were the first
Mm-hmm.
person to encourage me to write.
Yes.
And, when we talked about even like starting the podcast or starting something like the podcast, we did start
Mm-hmm.
with the videos before, and you were like,
Yes.
yeah, we can do it. And you can do it. And because, I was always one to shy away from like public speaking. And that was something that I learned, that the negative self-talk will hold you back.
It
And
will
like
keep you
you said,
captive. Mm-hmm.
exactly, sometimes you need somebody to counter that,
Yes.
to help you to really begin to reinforce now the positive,
Mm-hmm.
the more positive self-talk, to move you into different spaces. Because I remember saying to somebody the other day too, that I'm gonna stop saying that
Yeah.
I'm not good at public speaking. I'm going
Yeah.
to say I am aiming to be better at
A
public
public
speaking.
speaking. Yeah, you
You
got to
understand?
tighten your craft. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, don't say you can't. You got to tighten the craft, because
Yes.
once you start put it that you can't, you just have to keep yourself down and look
Yeah.
at it this way. If our kids should come to us and say, me can't do this, me can't do that,
What are
we
we
are gonna
gonna
tell
tell them?
them exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Exactly. We would be encouraging them to say, no, you can do it. Change your mindset,
Yeah.
right? You can, you just have to try. But it's interesting when you started off, you talk about parenting, relationships, and different things with the imposter
Hmm.
syndrome. Because initially, when you talk about that, you automatically think about it in a business context,
Right.
workplace, different things. But you're right, even with parenting, because I tell you, say, I join this ADHD support group on Facebook.
That we need. Hmm.
No, we need it.
Hmm.
And I take comfort, may I tell you, sometimes I'm read some of the posts them, because I'm like, yo, and me
Hmm.
alone I go through this,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes you feel like you're just in a space and a box,
Yes.
like you're the worst parent. And then when you hear and see some people I go through similar and even worse situations, you say, boy, God, I thank you, because I'm not the worst parent.
Right.
And me not curse because
Hmm.
my child is like this. Because sometimes those thoughts creep up in your mind. Or why me? Why do I have to have a child with special needs? Why
Right.
does my child have to be like this? But may I tell you, so sometimes when you hear other people's story and see the things people are go through, you say, boy, me not have it so bad.
And this is one of the things that is actually recommended too in terms of countering this whole imposter syndrome, is that you you adjust your view of what is considered to be failure, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that can happen based on, just how, so we always talk about how we struggle. We struggle
Yeah.
with this parenting thing. But you
Yeah,
know
real
what?
talk.
Yeah, real talk. At the end of the day, we are doing the absolute best that we can. And
And that's the thing,
yeah,
Tam.
we will do everything that we
Mm-hmm.
can. We are doing the absolute best that we can. And so, even in instances where you have not done something right,
Yeah.
right? We cannot consider that an absolute failure of
Yeah.
or whether skills in parenting or us just being a parent.
Yeah.
I know, and I've said this before too, that I've had to apologize to my kids, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
losing
Real
my
talk.
mind and going off on them or, you know, saying
Mm-hmm.
something that I shouldn't have in a moment of anger or whatever, frustration. But I've also stopped considering that to be an absolute failure on my part as being a parent because kids are one thing, kids relationships in general are one thing nobody not have no manual for.
Yeah,
Okay?
may I tell you, real
It's
talk. You just
yeah,
have your trial
it's
and error.
trial and error. And
Mm-hmm.
so I now view my hiccups as opportunities for me to grow and be
Yeah.
different. I have to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm going to be constantly holding myself in a place where I feel like the worst person ever.
And you can't walk around with that shame, that
Exactly.
heaviness, that guilt. It's a lot to
Yeah.
carry. It's a heavy burden to bear.
Yeah. So we need to change our view
Mm-hmm.
of the areas where we have not succeeded in the way that we hoped, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we would, and
Mm-hmm.
not consider it a failure, but consider it a new opportunity, which is something that we've talked about too, even in our book club over the course of doing several books.
Yeah.
It's not failure.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to do something different,
Different. Yeah.
to change your approach, to learn, to
Mm-hmm.
grow. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is one way that, they have suggested that counteracts this imposter syndrome, even in terms of like your relationships and so on overall.
Real talk.
Real talk.
No, real talk, right? And that's why this year, Tam, I am intentional about, I was in a meeting, a group meeting a meeting at work, and we were talking about one word we wanted to really guide us this year. I did have two words. I said, betting on me, right?
Mhm.
You have to bet on yourself.
That's a
Yeah,
tree word.
yeah, that's a true word. Betting on me.
Yes.
Yes, I tell him somebody that more than one. Because real talk,
Yeah.
sometimes because of the things that you go through in life, that your experiences, whether it be with the children, work, personal relationships, whatever, you feel so inadequate. Like, who am I
Yeah.
to be writing a book? Who am
know.
I to be doing a podcast?
Yes.
Who am I to be opening up a business? Who am I? But yes, I am going to write the book. And me, I go do the podcast. And me, I go do the business. Because you know what, Tam? We all have mess.
Yes.
Nobody not perfect. Even the counselor of a counselor.
Right?
Right? We all have mess. So yes, I'm gonna bet on me,
Yeah.
regardless of what I am going through, because I know I'm a work in progress, right? He is still working on me. I am a work in progress, and I know I have so much to give to the world. So I'm not gonna allow my current circumstance to prevent me from actually self-actualizing and doing what I can do. So that's what me say, me a bet for me a choose Shanique. I am choosing Shanique in this season because at the end of the day, Tam, some storms may not ever go away.
Right.
It's just that we have to know how to navigate them.
Right.
Or situations with our children. We have special, we know we did this podcast or this first YouTuber, we said they're imperfectly perfect.
Absolutely.
We have imperfectly perfect children that they have their unique skills and abilities. They have areas that they struggle, but it's just us as parents who have to just shift our mindset to see how to support them.
Yeah.
Right? Relationships are relationships. It come with it ebbs and flows. Some days it up, some days it down. And you have your own individual personal stuff. Everybody have their stuff going through. So why limit yourself because you're going through a situation?
Yeah,
You can't.
yeah, yeah. I am right there with you, and I've made the same choice too. And I think in a lot of instances, what happens too that kind of holds us in that space where we feel like we
Mm-hmm.
don't belong there or we can't do something is when we
Yes.
look around and compare ourselves to other people who,
Comparison a killer.
yes, who you're thinking like you have seen there are thousands, millions of authors out there, right?
Yes,
For
yes.
instance, let's talk about writing the book. And
Yeah.
everybody has their story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way that somebody else's story may have impacted us, why do we feel that our story is not as valuable or as
That's my whole
important, or
thing.
we not have as
Yes.
much of a contribution that we can give to this world, right?
Or we think our story is not valid.
Yeah,
But
it
it
or
is
it's not, but
valid.
it's valid.
It is
And
valid.
so, and why can't our skills be utilized as well in the same way that everybody else does? I heard somebody comment not too long ago about, oh, in this time of COVID, everybody suddenly turn an expert and have something to say,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about people going on having their own platforms and so on,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so I'm thinking, I wonder what people would think like when we decided we were going to start this podcast. Oh, I wonder if people think so we are going to think we know
Yeah.
everything or whatever, but
Whatever.
absolutely not.
And that is just a spirit of jealousy. You do what
The
you need
fact
to
of
do.
the, yeah, but the fact of the matter is that we feel that through our conversations,
Mm-hmm.
somebody can get something out
And
of that.
somebody's gonna be blessed, right?
Somebody's going
And
to be
and I
blessed.
think that's what we started with when we started. I was like, it no matter how many people, as long as it's one or two or three people, we're not doing this for riches and fame.
Exactly. Because we not get no money out of these
We're not getting
people.
no money, right?
The real
It's all
talk.
good. Real
It's
talk.
all good.
Real talk. But it serves such a greater purpose to us than
Yeah.
money. And in the long run, if that is God's will, that's God's will. But that is not like say we're in it for the money.
No. And actually, so many people have, how many instances have we put out something and somebody has messaged one of us to say, oh, thank you so much. Oh, I actually kind of this resonated with me. I could relate
Absolutely.
to this or whatever, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we need to do is to stop thinking that we're not valuable, like we don't have anything to contribute,
Mm-hmm.
and to just to debunk that thought that you don't belong in a space where you choose to put yourself. You
Yes.
belong there, you have a story to tell, you are valuable,
Mm-hmm.
you have a
Mm-hmm.
contribution to make. And it might be that some people not like the upfront. Some
Yeah.
people will do well just being in the background if it is
Mm-hmm.
supporting something. But
Mm-hmm.
know that your contribution is valuable just the same. You belong in that space where you put yourself, right?
Exactly.
And we know we are spiritual people. We believe that God not put you nowhere where you're not supposed to
Exactly.
be in terms of
Exactly.
making that contribution, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, people just have to walk in them purpose and bet on yourself. If you're in a position, you're there for a reason, right? Stop telling yourself that you can't do this. Stop telling yourself that you shouldn't be there. Stop telling yourself you're not qualified. And if you need to go brush up your skills, go back to school, go brush up your skills. Take a
Yeah.
little one course, do a little online thing in the life of virtual thing. No, you can get stuff easily accessible. Take a workshop, take a speaking course. If you feel like you need to tighten up on your craft, invest in yourself. But
Yeah.
stop telling yourself that you can't do it and taking on this persona of an imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
Do you have any final
absolutely.
thoughts, Tam?
No, I just to say that yeah, you're valuable, you know. And the thing about it is the some of this negative talk that we often bring on ourselves or reinforce in our minds and in our spirit, it holds us back, right? And so we need to counter that. And we actually have a great episode that's going to be coming up with a dynamic coach, Coach
Yes,
Ali.
yes,
That's going to be coming up soon that
yes.
everyone needs to listen out
Yeah, that was
for.
a good conversation.
Yeah, and he talks about how we can correct some of these things that we tell
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, just catch it and correct it, you know, right away. I would say, like Shan said, bet on you in this season. You belong, you are valuable, you are where
Yes,
you're supposed to be, and you can do even more. Once you put your mind to it, you can do anything that you want to. That's it
indeed.
for me.
So Shantam fam, the great time with you, sitting with you. Check us out on Spreaker. I always have tongue twists when me have to income. So
It's
you
all
have
right.
to give them the information.
Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio podcasts. We are also on our YouTube page. So I know a lot of people often say, "Oh, I can't find you on the listening, the audio app." But you can also find us on our YouTube page. All the episodes are uploaded there, and that's Shan and Tam. Just find us on YouTube, and also on our Facebook page, Real Talk with Shan and Tam, which is the actual podcast page. Sam, we want to hear from you. Drop us a comment and share this episode with a friend. Share it like food. All right, so you all take care until next time. Walk good.
Walk good, fam.
Don't forget to visit Shan and Tam on all their social media websites. At Sisters Shan and Tam on Instagram, Shan Tam Lodge-Lee on Facebook, and check out their blogs at shanandtam.blogspot.com. Tune in again next time on Real Talk.